In the last video, we got the overview of pivot table, Excel charts, dashboard, slicer. In this video, we will specifically focus on Excel charts and we'll see how to use Excel chart in different scenarios. So let's start. Now to create a chart, there are three different ways. You can either select the cell in the table, make sure nothing is touching from any of the side. Go to insert, click on this chart or whatever chart you want and bring one chart here, or select complete cell, Control A, Alt N, Q, down, enter. This is much easier. So in the first two ways that we have followed, it actually created a chart with respect to the complete table and took everything in the chart. If you want to create a chart with respect to only specific columns, you just need to select the complete column, the first column, press or hold Control key, select the second column, leave Control, go to Insert tab, or let's Alt and Q, down, enter. This will include only these two particular columns, and that's all I want. Now let's talk about this chart for a while. So first mistake that we have done here is no proper title. We need a title which justifies the chart or gives information about the chart. So for that, you can just double click and write whatever you want, or select the border, the filled border, and press equals to and select the cell that contains the title. In that way you can use formulas inside it. Second mistake is using a 3D chart. Now let's compare two parts from this chart. So tell me which value is bigger, this light blue one or this orange one. By the looks of it, it seems the blue one contains higher value than the orange part. But if you include the values, let's include all of them, click on this and let's push it outside. Now you can see this blue one which seems bigger, but it contains 1,20,000 value, which is less than this orange one. So in other words, I can say that using a 3D diagram specifically in terms of pie chart can to give misleading informations. Okay, now let's change this to a proper 2D diagram. So I'll right click and go to this option called change chart type, select the chart and done. Right click on this, copy this, paste it here, or you can just click on the chart and press Ctrl D and to make a duplicate, and then again right click, change the chart type, go to bar chart or column chart, whatever you want. Let's go ahead with bar chart, click OK. Now it's done. Now let's compare these two. There are a lot of guys who don't use pie charts. You know why? Because pie chart doesn't give good reference to two values. So if you want to compare two values by just viewing it, let's say we want to let's remove first all these data tables, data levels. Let's remove this one also. Now if I ask you to compare, let's say green one and blue one from this particular chart, it doesn't seems to have much of difference, but it actually have. This contains 1,20,000 and this one contains 1,40,000. But if you refer this one, it is obvious that this 140 Rizwan contains higher value than Furqan, which is 120. So this is a very minute difference, but it sticks and you should always follow these things. Now let's make a duplicate, Control D, I'll drag it here, again right click, change chart type. Now let's create a column chart. Now both of them are looking same. It all depends on the values. For example, when the axis values are a bit bigger, okay, and contains more values. Let's say we have how many around 8 employees here. So if it is like 10 or 15 or more than 20 or whatever it is. In that case, I'll go for bar chart. If the number is less, I'll go with column chart. Bigger, if you have, let's say, big names with lots of data on the same column, this will be messy. Okay, so never use that. Let's remove things which are repetitive, so we don't need legends here. All the legends of the companies are here. Now let's talk about these chart elements. All these fields that you're seeing here, this is axis, this is legend, the title, all of them are called chart title. Okay, now if you want to edit any of them and you want to format them, you just click on that particular field, that let's say this one, press Ctrl 1. Let's say we want to limit this to 20,000. We want to make the minimum value to 20,000. I select this, press Ctrl 1. I'll go to this particular option and go to axis option and set the minimum value to 20k and done. So for that we will use clustered column. Now let's create clustered and stacked chart together so that we can understand what is the difference between them. Select the employee name first, hold Ctrl T key, sales and target column, leave Ctrl key, go to insert, then go to clustered chart. Now I'll duplicate this by pressing Ctrl D. Let's change the chart type to stack chart. Now let's talk about both of them. In case you want to compare two different data points, so for example, for each and every employee we want to compare sales and target. In that case we can use clustered chart. For let's say Uday, this sales part is less than the revenue or than the target that is being assigned. So for Uday, he has underachieved his target. Similarly, Mr. Rijwan have overachieved his target. So this is kind of comparison that we are doing for each of the employees in different data points. Let's talk about stacked chart. So stacked chart gives you an absolute value, a summation of value. So for example, let's say let's say two different regions, region north and this one is north sales. For this particular table where we are actually finding out the summation or the total sales of each and every employees in these two different regions. So we are actually finding out the absolute value of sales, which includes the combination of north sales and south sales. In that case we can use stack chart. So it actually summing up the value, showing us as per the numbers together and then comparing. So we can compare that, let's say Salman for example have generated around 1,50,000 of revenue including north and south sales, which is lesser than Furqan and maybe lesser than Kaustubh and Nawab. So it actually summing up the value and showing us the chart. Now let's talk about combo chart. Combo charts are the charts which includes multiple charts in the same one. Okay, so for example in this particular table with months on one, marketing expenses and the return that we are getting by all this marketing activity and the money that we are fueling in the marketing. So let's see whether it is successful or not. So I'll select the complete chart because we want all of them, which you can also select one cell and go to insert. I'll create one stack chart, a clustered chart first. Since the percentage value as absolute value is nothing compared to the marketing, the numbers that is being shown in this particular column. So that's why it is not shown. So now our objective is to create ROI as line chart. Okay, so there is only already a column chart. We want to create ROI or highlight ROI as line chart. I'll go to format by selecting the chart. I'll go to format and from here you can select or whatever chart element you want to select from here. So I want to just select this series ROI. Now second thing, we want to create another axis because with the respect to this axis, this is nothing. So we need another axis on the right side which can refer this particular column. So we need another axis. So we will press Ctrl 1 first. This will open up the dialog box, and we need secondary axis. So we have created a secondary axis. Now we need to change it as line chart. So I'll again right click, change series chart type, and then from this combo option you can select whatever chart you want. So I'll select stacked line chart with marker, press OK, and done. So we have created a chart with bar chart and line chart together, and by the looks of it you can say that the marketing expenses, so whatever marketing expenses that we are doing, the revenue is also increasing. Okay, so whatever we are doing in marketing activities, it is going in the right direction. Now let's talk about line charts. So line chart needs a column with dates or time in it. It actually shows the trend of, let's say, sales or profit or the population trend. So for each of these examples, we need a column which shows dates. For example, this table, we can have a line chart using order date and sales. So I'll select the order date, Control Shift down, I'll hold Control key, Control backspace. I haven't left Control key yet. I'll again select sales, press Control Shift down, go to insert, and I'll select, let's say, 2D line chart. Now as you can see, this is not what we have expected. This is because the number of data points is too much. It is around 3300, and to create a chart out of 3300 data points will make the chart messy. Okay, and it also won't show any fruitful or desired output which you can deduce anything out of. So let's delete this first, and what we can do is we can create a chart, or let's Control Home to go back. Yeah, so what we can do is we can create a chart, a line chart to be specific, with month-wise sales, which shows the month-wise sales trend. So for that we need to extract what is the month, and in each of the month what is the total sales that we have generated. And if you have guessed right, you can use pivot table here. So I'll select the cell, I'll go to insert and pivot table, or I'll press Alt and VT tab. I don't need this in new worksheet, I need this in existing worksheet. I'll select the location, press OK. I need order date. So as I said earlier in the last video, always start with rows. So I'll put order date in rows area, and it has created a different field here called months, and there are two different fields here, months and order date. I only need months. Now it is good. I need sales as well, so I'll select sales here, and this is done. I'll again go to design, report layout, tabular form, and grand total of to rows and columns. I don't need grand total at all. And also we need to format the numbers, so I'll select the complete list, go to home. I need a comma with the 1000 keys, and let's decrease the decimal point to 0, so I don't need any decimals. I'll select the cell, I'll go to insert, create a chart. Now we have created a line chart, a trend line chart. I'll delete this legend because I don't need this. I'll also delete this, right clicking and hide all field button on charts. You can also do this by just clicking here. Let's change the title, let's call it sales trend. Okay, we need axis to represent what all the x and y axis represents, so I'll click on plus sign, axis titles, and I'll click this one, equals to sales, and I don't need this axis title but because this already represents the name of the months. And I also need data labels to represent which value it represents. So you can either go with the number shown in here, or you can include data labels. So choose any one of them. So I'll select data labels. Now it is done. You can just delete this. So this is sales by month wise data. Now one more thing that you can add, this is just a bonus thing that you need to remember. If you want to squeeze the number to its, let's say, thousandth or millionth of data, so that it represent, let's say, 43 or 44,000 here, or 118,000 here, we can do this by just selecting the field, this field element, press Ctrl 1 to open this format data label. I'll go to this option, and then let's go to number of this. Let's expand this, and in the category field, let's select custom option. Let's do it one by one. Okay, so if you include 0 means numbers. So if you just press type 0 and add, it will make the numbers without any decimal, in its absolute number format. If you want to include decimal also, just press or type decimal 0 0 for 2 decimals, 3 decimal, 4 decimal, whatever you want. We don't want that, just need to include numbers. Next, for 1000 we need 1 comma, for million we need 2 comma, for billion 3 comma, and so on. If I include 1 comma only, it will make the numbers or squeeze the number down to 1000. So I'll need to include K or T symbol after the number. So I'll include inverted comma T or K or whatever you want, and just add it. And now it is 44,000, 59,000. You can also change it to K inverted comma, enter, add, and now it is thousands. There are a lot of things that we need to learn, but this is the basic. If you learn this much, you can create a perfect dashboard without any confusion. So I hope this helped you a lot. Feel free to comment if there is any new topic you want me to cover in this particular series. This is Excel Pivoted. Have a great day.